Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to this week trade recap video. This week I've only entered two positions. Pound Swiss is a position I'm currently running. Swiss yen was able to close down for break even, and then pound dollar from previous week was able to close down for a 1% profit. So let's take a look into these positions, specifically these two trades I entered this week, and take it from there. So starting from pound Swiss here, if we look at the higher time frame here, and we look at the overall higher time frame, we can see that this is the previous high that price is reacting to. You can see that this was the previous impulsive move pushing down, followed by a correction, and then the COVID impulse down. And now we're right back into that previous high where price was forming this kind of a rising wedge kind of reversal, and then we eventually get that really sharp impulsive move down. So naturally, we know that if there's going to be a continuation correction, if there's going to be bearish continuation, certainly we can expect certain kind of impulsive move pushing down. May or may not push down impulsively or that strong like the COVID time, but I certainly expect this move to push down to this previous low. So when we look at the lower time frame here, we talk about that rising wedge is a good bearish reversal, and now we see the strong impulse move down, and right away we see price are consolidating. It's good to see consolidation because we know that consolidation is to correct the previous impulsive move, and we can reasonably expect the next impulsive move, whether or not we're going to get in this potential impulse down, or we may push down to the bottom of this kind of parallel channel structure, and then potentially make another move up to the top here, and it's kind of what I'm talking about here, and then potentially looking for bearish reversal and then push down the price right back down after. So I was able to get in this position. I was looking at this overall correction. We have a small ascending channel. We had an impulse down when we fall into a mini correction. So again, this is multi-time frame analysis to its finest, right? We see the same impulse on the higher time frame and same higher time frame correction. When we look closely, we have lower time frame ascending channels, similar like the higher time frame wedge, and we have the first impulse down and first continuation correction. So basically, similar idea here what we're seeing. And if we look closely here, we even have another small impulse down followed by a correction here, and that's kind of how I entered this one. Just set the stop entry order below this low, and then put the stop loss above the previous high here for about I think 45 pips stop. I want to see what price will do if it reaches the bottom here. If it's going to reach the bottom and start having bullish reversal, I'm likely to move it to break even or a little bit of profit if I can. Waiting to see if it's going to just kind of make another way back to the top here, and then still looking for the reversal down from the top. Whereas if it does break out from here, I do expect a mini lower time frame correction once we broke out this parallel channel, and then look for another scaling entry down to this kind of previous low here. This was also the previous low when this move happens, right? This is the high of here. Now it becomes the low of this area. So that is pound Swiss, just hovering around break even right now, hovering around the entry point. We'll see how this potential move go in the next week. Looking at Swiss yen here, Swiss yen is a trade that entered this week and closed down for break even. We talked about the higher time frame many times, and I was looking for this potential bearish move down for the price. Was able to get in on the previous impulsive move, secure some profit here. But as I dig deeper here, I mentioned about how we have this bullish impulse up, and it's followed by this kind of pendant kind of structure where it can really be a little bit more advanced. It can certainly be a bullish continuation, or it can be a bearish reversal. So in this case, when I dig into the lower time frame here, when I see the price break down from this kind of a pendant structure, I was waiting for the price to break this low actually. So this correction here wasn't enough for me, but I do like this impulse down, and I saw this mini lower time frame correction. So I opted with the entry order, stop loss above the high for about 30 pips. Tagged me in, hovering around, and then pushed down, and then eventually broke past this previous low. And as always, for my risk management, I will move my stop loss to break even once we hit about 1-to-1 risk reward, and we broke this previous low as well. And I was looking to see if this is actually going to continue lower, and pretty much it did not. It had a bullish push up to the upside. It basically formed a mini correction here. So basically, I knew that my trade will get stopped out for break even, but I was looking at this to see if it's going to form some sort of head and shoulder and then still continue down. But it did not happen. I got tagged out about right here, and then price eventually pushed up above my previous high of my stop loss anyways. So pretty pretty happy with my overall management. Got off for break even. I couldn't have secured for 1-to-1. My overall target was actually at the low or even possibly breakout. So stopping myself out for 1-to-1 or 1% profit doesn't make sense in this kind of scenario. I'd rather take a break even here, and then we'll look to see if there's going to be further bearish opportunity looking up. Looking at this overall structure, I just expect that we might get a deeper correction, something like this. Eventually, that we're still going to go for a downside potential. So I'll be keeping an eye on this Swiss yen, just like I talked about on the higher time frame. I like this overall higher time frame structure and price action as well. So may or may not push down this week, but certainly can just consolidate here a little bit and then eventually push down. And then I'm still looking for that potential sell down to the low. So that is Swiss yen got off for break even. Last one I want to trade is last trade I want to talk about is pound dollar. We talked about pound dollar from 2 weeks ago, and finally we do see pound dollar pushing out of this structure here, right? We did see this consolidation push out, and I was looking for that continuation correction to go lower. As we can see, price did form this continuation correction. It had this pullback here, and I was looking for an entry down to this previous low here. That's kind of where my first target would be. So I like how we had this kind of rising wedge pushing the upside, and then we talk about this head and shoulder pattern in my previous weekly trade recap video. So price tagged me in, and then throughout this week we pushed down, we followed by a correction, and we pushed down. We pushed down even lower, so this is all good in terms of price. But as we can see, when we get closer to the NFP time, price eventually falling to this little small descending structure. So that could be the first kind of a sign from the market telling us that may or may not the bearish move will continue. And after the news event, we have this kind of a surge to the upside. Now, originally, I already have my stop loss at break even. I update this one in my midweek market outlook. I remember I updated Swiss yen and pound dollar. I moved the stop loss to break even. But as we passed this pro here, we passed this previous low here, and then price continued to push down. I moved my stop loss to about 1-to-1 profit. I didn't want to take another break even once I hit about 2-to-1 in terms of profit. I don't want 2% profit. End up taking a break even, so I ended up moving my stop loss down to about 1-to-1. And after this bullish push up to the upside, I was kind of just waiting to see if there's going to be any kind of bullish continuation correction that might give me a better opportunity to move down the stop loss or take profit there. But it didn't happen. It just kind of just keep perching up to the upside, eventually taking me out for a full 1% profit. Overall, I still think everything I did was correct, following my plan. I didn't want to choke the price. That's first thing, but I also want to protect my trade after hitting about 2% in profit. I didn't want to take a break even, which is different than Swiss yen, because Swiss yen actually only hit about 1%, and I'm fine taking a break even this way. But pound dollar actually give me or hit a potential lower profit there, so I want to secure some profit. But looking at the overall time frame here, if this move is going to continue up, pushing up, I'm really not interested in this potential short-term buy, because I reasonably still see we can develop some sort of bearish structure here. And if we look at the higher time frame, I still favor the potential higher time frame sell, right? This happened during the news, so news, as we always call it, creates volatility. Certainly it creates that volatility on Friday, but is this bullish move is going to continue all the way up? Not likely, right? So the way how I see it is, I'm just going to wait for a little bit more consolidation or development in this last bit of the area, maybe through the next few days. But ultimately, I'm still looking for that bearish downside. I reasonably want to see price break this previous low and then continuation down to the downside. As we zoom out here, pound dollar is still looking pretty good. We broke out of this higher time frame channel, right? So this breakout here is pretty significant. We have this pullback, correction, and then we'll continue to push down lower. So there it is, guys. So to recap everything, we got on the Swiss yen for about break even. So I am still running pound Swiss right now. I think it's hovering around the entry point, looking for that potential sell. And pound dollar, it was able to get off for about 1% profit here, but still looking for any potential. Still looking for any potential bearish continuation if we're going to get that in the next few days or so. We'll want to see how next week opens up and take it from there. So there it is, guys. That is the 2 trades I entered this week, and I also closed down pound dollar from the previous week. Any question, comment, feedback, welcome to let me know, guys, and chat with you guys all next time. Thank you very much.